I'm Mr. Giant and I'm going to be saying I can do the ultimate cartoon crossover for Christmas. And it being the perfect time for me to talk about things that are similar to Christmas like Dr. Seuss. You could do a story with the Dr. Seuss characters that have the Grinch in it and Daisy Head Macy, and with her being like the Grinch's friend similar to the little girl in the story. With the main character of the story being the Cat in the Hat. The Daisy Head Macy episode came out before the book, and it was the last thing Dr. Seuss did, so if you did a good version of that, it would be a good way of honoring him. It would also be good the last Dr. Seuss story being good. And the Horton Hears a Who movie was good. It was good in an animated movie way, and they didn't overdo the goofiness. I mean, it's definitely good them not doing it goofy like how they would do it today. I mean, it's good in this movie that not everyone is goofy, and that there are people who are taking it seriously, and it's actually a good adaptation of the original story. Not like how they're doing it in modern Disney and in the MCU, for example, where everyone is a jokester and everyone being socially awkward. And while it is rather not doing the rhyming or the craziness of Dr. Seuss, it's at least good and the characters acting the same as in the story. And the Grinch does have other good stories as on how the Grinch stole Christmas, and one of them was even him interacting with the Cat in the Hat. So you could do him interacting with other Dr. Seuss characters instead of just doing the same story over and over again with the Grinch. You can still do it at Christmas, but with him interacting with people like Cat in the Hat with the little girl from the story. Everyone does spoof how the Grinch stole Christmas because of it being a kind of Christmas story. And it is because of Dr. Seuss stuff in the story, it was good for Christmas time.
I'm the tickler! Wacko's more evil brother!
I didn't know that psycho had a brother.
Yes, he has a brother! Who can do that?
Man, he is evil.
Good catchphrase, little brother.
It's good everyone knowing about how the Grinch stole Christmas, yes, and it being an iconic part of Christmas, how the Grinch stole Christmas, yes, but the Cat in the Hat should be the main character of Dr. Seuss because of him being the mascot of Dr. Seuss. And the Cat in the Hat has more than one good story, and not just one iconic story, so it would be better than doing him with the Dr. Seuss stuff, and especially if you're going to be doing so many things with the Dr. Seuss stuff at this time. That's what Dr. Seuss already intended him to be, and it would be better than just doing the same story over and over again. The original live-action Cat in the Hat movie was good, but it was just good in a Dr. Seuss way. With them doing a good job with the Cat in the Hat, because of them showing that you should be a balance between fun, and that is what happened in the original story. They just add more to it. And with them just doing how they met the Cat in the Hat, it's not as good as any of the Grinch movies, but it's still good in its own way. Plus, that's what they should remember now, you shouldn't try to explain the Cat in the Hat. The Cat in the Hat even had his own cartoon show with the kids from the original story. And it was good there because of it doing Dr. Seuss similar to a fairy tale, and it really doing it good, his relationship with the kids. That's one of the whole reasons why Dr. Seuss is so good in cartoon shows, for example, is because of it being simple, yet wise for all ages to understand. And because of its craziness doesn't need to be explained. And with them making complicated rhymes sound simple, and with them still saying something, and with them making them sound like made-up words. The way you're supposed to do Dr. Seuss is similar to a fairy tale, like from the original Disney movies. And the Grinch can still show up, even in different Christmas stories, but it not just being the same story over and over again, and it would be good him crossing over with the other Dr. Seuss characters. I mean, you already have 3 different versions of the story on other forms of media, and it's already good as getting those ones. I don't think we need any more of it. It's still good people spoofing it because of it being from different things, and it just being because of it being an iconic part of Christmas in general. And you telling different stories with them at Christmas with other Dr. Seuss characters is better than you just telling the same story over and over again. I'm perfectly fine with the 3 other versions of the story that we already have in other forms of media, just if they're going to keep using it, and going to keep using things from Dr. Seuss in general, this is how they should do it. Do him, Max, and the little girl from the story going to a Christmas party with the other Dr. Seuss characters, like Daisy Head Macy, Horton Hears a Who, and the Cat in the Hat. Just them doing the craziness of Dr. Seuss and enjoying a Christmas party is enough. Even with them doing some competitions at Christmas, but with them being okay with not winning it, and again, Hat winning it instead, because it not being a competition of who loves Christmas the most, it's just good you're enjoying Christmas. It is good that Dr. Seuss meant to do such an iconic story for Christmas, and that Dr. Seuss story meant to become so iconic with Christmas. But the Grinch is really a good Christmas icon, while the Cat in the Hat is the mascot of Dr. Seuss, so you should stay that way, and same thing with the Grinch with Christmas. So when people spoof the Grinch, it's similar to spoofing Scrooge from A Christmas Carol with Christmas stories. They're spoofing the Christmas part of it, and they're just doing it because it being a Christmas story that's iconic, not because they're spoofing Dr. Seuss, so it's really them spoofing a part of Christmas specifically. Even then, the whole point of it is the spirit of giving, and Christmas being a time for second chances similar to Scrooge and A Christmas Carol. So we're going to keep doing things with this story, and you should at least do something original with it, like it being set after the story, so us seeing how far the Grinch came after it, and the whole point of the story was it being the company of others anyways.
Still have to wait for Marge to show some backbone, and you again? What the hell is this thing?
Seen this somewhere.
Upper, flupper, number 2.
Maybe I saw this in a book.
And you do need to do different stories about it, and it would be better than doing the same story over and over again, because it is better than them doing the R-rated movies about it. You're supposed to do Dr. Seuss's insanity similar to Alice in Wonderland's insanity, and with it being a fairy tale that's supposed to be crazy. The whole point of Alice in Wonderland is a little girl being trapped in a world that doesn't make sense and no one believing her about it. And the point of Alice in Wonderland is it running on very complicated logic that might not even exist, so some part of it should be whimsical and not taken too seriously. Disney's Alice in Wonderland is much better than the original fairy tale because it being the one everyone remembers and does it better than the source material because of it. And the Queen of Hearts goes after Alice because of her challenging her rule. And it being a dream just explains the craziness of what actually happened there, showing the actual version to the audience in general. At least the live-action Alice in Wonderland movies were good, but in a way of them being a sequel to the original one and not just telling the original story all over again, but in a worse version in live-action. Because of them being sequels to the original Disney Alice in Wonderland animated movies, and it already being in good on its own, it being a sequel in live action. And what the other Disney live action movies should have taken from it is them doing the original script for the movie. Because at least the live action movies were different because of them sticking more close to the source material, and because of them doing the Jabberwock part of the story, and them doing the original sequel to the story through the looking glass. So if Scooby-Doo does a fairy tale mystery, and Alice in Wonderland being one of the fairy tales there, it would be good them doing the insanity of the story, and them doing something scary with that, showing the horror part of the fairy tale for a mystery, for example. So again, it would be good you doing Batman's Mad Hatter.
The Mad Hatter.
Congratulations are in order, I suppose. And you're right. I said through the looking.
This...
A family, all you ever wanted. Your own private wonderland.
No! I won't live a lie, no matter how attractive you make it.
You ruined my life. I was willing to give you whatever life you wanted, just to keep you out of mine.
What's going on? How'd I get here?
Tomorrow, this all goes back to the company. Minus the cost of a plane ticket home for our kidnapped doll maker.
I must say, after all the Hatter put him through, that fellow showed remarkable restraint.
When everything was said and done, all the shaman really wanted was to go home.
The fairy tale part would be one of the things keeping this crossover together. If you having these supervillains crossover with these cartoon fairy tales and R-rated versions of these fairy tales. With Batman's Mad Hatter dating and Spider-Man's White Rabbit, with her being the reason why I'm still doing supervillain things, because of him just doing supervillain things, because of him being in love with her, and her wanting to stay a supervillain. And with Batwoman's Alice being like a daughter to them. And because of you understanding the insanity of Alice in Wonderland and the craziness of Dr. Seuss, that's why you would be able to do the Mad Hatter better, for example. And because of him having the Austin Runland gang, it's really good him just being with Austin Runland, because there's already other fairy tale villains and he could just work together with them. And it's really good it being Austin Runland specifically, because of him working together with King of Favors, the Fairy Tale Gangster, and Dr. Trap. And with the villain Jabberwock that way exists in DC Comics. With the Red Lantern Teen Titans to go with the Raven part of Austin Runland, and with Bonnie Hank, Kilroy, Sir DeClaire, Air Z1, the Hensman from Earth 38, Auto Cleaner, and Tintin. And also together imagine Jaspis and the Crazy Gang because they're Marvel's Austin Runland gang.
Big old bats has fallen down. I'm so happy. Nice web. Just a souvenir, that's all. Give me that.
Where are you gonna go?
Nowhere.
Well, it's about time. The Justice League found straight. The League took them down. Most of them.
And the other Batman villains, the Queen of Hearts, the King of Clubs, the Ace of Spades, and Hijack. The Blackjack and Poker Face. Card themes here to go with the card theme. And to prove why the Royal Flush Gang is the best. And him hiring the Royal Flush Gang is Bounty Hunt just because of the card thing going with his Alice in Wonderland theme. And this whole thing happening because of Brother Ginn, because of him going with his Alice in Wonderland theme too. And them following the White Rabbit is how them keeping the story connected. Using DC's Queen of Hearts, that's for the off with his head part. And DC Suicide actually becoming the Suicide Cat and them trying to change her back. Because it was one of the original plotlines for the movie. But them being okay with going at the courtroom scene, and them actually getting so big them going out of it. And it making the Queen of Hearts so angry that it was off with her head. Then finding out that it was a dream that actually happened. And them also managing to change back Suicide in the end, and it would be better in this story because of you focusing on stopping the Mad Hatter. You showing how big of a threat he is because of him being with other Alice in Wonderland themed villains, and it's like Brother Grimm who's extremely powerful and an Alice in Wonderland themed villain. And them finding out it being a dream that really happened because of them still dating them when they woke up in real life, after them fighting against the Jabberwock. The original Alice in Wonderland story. If you're doing a Jabberwock similar to a dragon, but it being its own thing. It really showing the insanity of Alice in Wonderland. And the man had to create it by using the Man-Bat Exium mixed with DNA samples from Solomon Grundy, Bane, and Kara Quark. And mind-controlling it with his mind-control technology. Then they would free the Jabberwock from his mind control, then they would cure the Jabberwock, and then they would do the Through the Looking Glass as part of the story, and then they would be able to defeat the Alice in Wonderland villains in the end. And that part of the story. And then during that serum, the next vs. Mutant serum that's also made with Clayface and Chemo. And showing the serum that's made from the Venom drug, the Joker gas, and the Fear gas. And Poison Ivy's mind control pheromones. Samples from Man-Bat Tigress, the realm of Kara Quark and Solomon Grundy. This mind control technology with Poison Ivy shows and mind control them. With it being done by all the villains like Joker, Lex Luthor, Scarecrow, and Poison Ivy. So they can turn everyone into monsters they can mind control, but with the heroes stopping them in the end. Stopping them from shooting the gas, curing everyone, and from being turned into a monster, and freeing everyone from the mind control.
Dankeschön, Herr Van Mousling.
And you can just do a cameo of Batman's Mad Hatter hanging out with Alice in Wonderland, and from the Disney animated movies, he's at the House of Malice or something at Toontown. And the Wizard of Oz is similar to Australian, with it being similar to a fairy tale, but not being exactly like a fairy tale. And it also having insanity, even in a whimsical way similar to Australian and Dr. Seuss. Because of it having insanity in a whimsical way similar to Australian, and it being similar to a fairy tale, and because of it having so many characters as going through a land, it would be good you doing it as one of the fairy tales in this story, for you doing them going throughout the lands part of it, and for how you doing so many characters at once. You can also use this for them crossing over the other fairy tale characters like from the Disney movies, and for them saying stuff about fairy tales in general, like R-rated fairy tales, and for them saying things, and you also saying things like how the original Disney movies based on fairy tales are good, and why it's bad them ruining fairy tales in the modern Disney movies is the supervillains that are based on fairy tales, from DC and Marvel comics. They'd still be going around the lands and trying to stop the Mad Hatter and chasing the White Rabbit, them just going through the same lands as Dorothy did from The Wizard of Oz, as dealing with people, and them getting different cartoon characters as after seeing the different fairy tales at the different parts of the lands, which would also have some of the fairy tale villains from the comics there. For the first part of this part of the movie, you do the Wicked Witch of the West being similar to the fairy, but then she started hating the Wizard of Oz as when he came to the land and her becoming the Wicked Witch of the West. Then for the second part, you doing the original version that Warner Bros. Did of the Wizard of Oz. And for the third part, you're doing it as a combination of all the sequels to the Wizard of Oz. And being spread throughout the land, and like in the Tom and Jerry sequel to the Wizard of Oz. And with it having the other characters as from the Disney sequel to The Wizard of Oz, and it being dark and serious like it, and it being set in the future since the original story, with Dorothy still having her connection to the Land of Oz, as like in the cartoon so based on The Wizard of Oz that Warner Bros. Did, but with her daughter and a friend of hers as well as her boyfriend, and ending up there too with her. Like from the cartoon sequel of The Wizard of Oz, as and from the show that's based on Dorothy's daughter. The evil wizard and the other bad guys being the other bad guys like in the original sequel to The Wizard of Oz as live action movie. And the same things happening from the Tom and Jerry sequel or to The Wizard of Oz movie throughout those times, and with them also dealing with the same things and stopping the same threats as from the Tom and Jerry sequel to The Wizard of Oz movie. With them defeating the bad guys from the show in the same way as the other shows of The Wizard of Oz, and them also stopping the same villains from the live action and Wizard of Oz sequel from Disney throughout the story. With them defeating the Gnome King in the end and taking back the ruby high heels from him, and also using them to get rid of the evil wizard's army from the sequel to the animated Wizard of Oz movie. Dorothy's daughter and her boyfriend ending up together and getting the happy ending in the end after it, like in the sequel to the Wizard of Oz animated movie, and Dorothy managing to save her farm that they're still at, while her daughter is still at a modern place is there, because of the emeralds she got from her friends at Oz. You can just do some of the Wizard of Oz characters with other fairy tale characters from other Disney movies, how them crossing over with them and getting them involved with the story. You can also replace some of the Wizard of Oz characters that are part of the story that go with it on your journey, with some of the cartoon characters that already exist. That would be helpful to them on their journey. If you're doing some characters similar to them, similar to the Oz story, with the characters that are already similar to them in the original version of them, but you're also doing some of the characters in their original forms, and with them already knowing them. You would still do the Wicked Witch of the West, and you would still do them defeating her just before the Gnome King in the story, and with you still doing her trying to burn them by setting a broomstick on fire and trying to set them on fire with it, and burn them with it. But you doing her melting in a similar way to Judge Doom from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because Judge Doom was already more R-rated than how her going, and it was more dark and serious than how the Wicked Witch of the West went. And people already knowing that as the more iconic death scene, and it being a dark and serious scene, because of it being similar to how the Wicked Witch of the West died. So it kind of outshined the original, and it becoming better than the original for a reason. So you're doing that one because of it being better, and because of it being more original, because it going over the cartoon crossover, because of the movie doing so good for cartoon forms of media. And the other stories in the fairy tale they would interact with and see from the other Disney movies, and from the other fairy tale supervillains would be Sleeping Beauty, because of it being one of the most iconic fairy tales. And it is better you going with that one because of it having a good villain like Maleficent, and because of it already being similar to Snow White. And the whole reason why this movie is so good is because of Maleficent just being a plain supervillain, and in her just being plain evil. It is good the Street Fairy Godmother being the main character of it, so it being different from the other Disney movies. And Aurora is a good princess and a good character in the movie, because of her actually liking to have fun, and because of her actually falling in love with the prince. Because he was one of the first people she saw in her life at all. So not only is it good her being willing to fall in love with him because of that, but it's also good what they were willing to do for each other because of it. The prince was also good in the movie because of him being willing to save her, and because him wanting to fall in love with the girl he already knew instead of someone that was promised him, and it was good her turning out to be that girl anyways. Him needing to kiss her to wake her up because of him knowing from the Street Fairies, he's him needing to kiss her to wake her up. And it's good the Street Fairies helping him to show them being the main characters of it. Maleficent was good because she was still a villain even in that movie, and it was at least good at them trying to do an original story, and because it was out of continuity of the original story, not trying to rewrite it. And if you ever do a fairy tale Scooby-Doo movie, this would be good for one of the fairy tales going through the mystery in that movie. Because of also being similar to the Wizard of Oz, you can do a Tom and Jerry Oz and Wonderland movie or another Tom and Jerry fairy tale movie. You need women and men to do the kids and anyone to do the species, so you don't need every relationship being LGBT community couple relationship. You should just do relationships in general. And me always saying how you can do a Scooby-Doo fairy tale movie in another video, so maybe linking that in the description down below. So stay tuned for that and keep seeing my videos for that. Because if it being Fairy Tale Pacific, it would be original from the other movies. If you're also doing Big Bad Wolf there, and you also doing R-rated versions of these fairy tales with him, it would also be good the R-rated fairy tales crossing over with stuff like the Disney original fairy tale movies. And with the R-rated fairy tales of Big Bad Wolf crossing over the fairy tale villains of Marvel and DC. You're also doing with him, you doing R-rated fairy tales to be original. Now, not for you doing the original fairy tales like in the modern Disney movies. With them just being a bigot to the other way. With you also doing some cartoon movies from Disney that aren't fairy tales specifically, so it being a cartoon crossover specifically, and for you showing the Disney part specifically, and with them just showing up in a cameo at the House of Mouse in Toontown for example, and them helping the other characters in the story in the same way the superhero pets do, and with them hanging out with other superhero pets too. The reason why 101 Dalmatians is so good isn't because Cruella's throughout plan and to make a fair cult out of them, is that she was willing to do that, and they're doing it to dogs in general. They did make a point in the movie about how good it is people having dogs in their lives because of them being good friends to them. And it's showing how evil Cruella de Vil is that she was willing to do it to them. And the whole point of Cruella de Vil is her being evil in a fashion way. And the original 101 Dalmatians live action movie was much better than the Cruella de Vil movie, because at least it was actually about the Dalmatians, and so them trying to do something original with it being a sequel to the original version of it. And at least that version of Cruella still worked for a cartoon version of it. And the series based on the 101 Dalmatians is one of the best as Disney series based on the original movies. It was good at focusing on the kids of the 101 Dalmatians, so us caring about them more in the actual movie. It is good at showing their relationship with Cruella de Vil, so us getting more with her, so us seeing what happened with her afterwards. With them also hanging out with other Disney dog characters like Lady and the Tram, because of them both being about dogs and both of them having romance in them. Plus the whole point of Lady and the Tramp is because of their romance. So it's good them being in a cartoon that can express it. I mean, in the spaghetti kiss is one of the most iconic kisses. It being good with things similar to The Simpsons because of them doing something original with it. And for how you doing the Rise of the Guardians sequel, in the second movie you do them fighting against Krampus, and in the third movie you do them fighting against the Halloween spirit. So it's still going with the holiday theme, and you still having characters that go with myths from your childhood going along with it. Using this movie as a sign on for something like that to happen with it. And this would go perfectly with it because of the Christmas theme, and the other ones would go perfectly with it because of fairy tales being submitted with the Christmas theme. The other supervillains you would do in this story, it would be the other food themed ones, and from Marvel and DC. It going with the Christmas theme because of you eating good food at Christmas. The Street Truth, you would do him having candy themed weapons and similar to a Willy Wonka type character. And with the Toka, him being similar to a Willy Wonka character, and the child catcher from Cha-Cha Bang Bang, the dark part of a Disney movie, with you just doing it, him trying to get kids to do terrible things, like him trying to do drugs to kids, and trying to get them to do crimes around the city, and with him also doing supervillain drugs to kill them with the drugs. With you also doing all the other food themed runs from all the other comic companies. The baker would take cooking really seriously and hate other terrible cooking. The candy man, you doing there being different Candymen in different cities with them doing different crimes based on candy, and them taking orders from the main Candyman who is doing drugs. And with them having pinata henchmen. And for Viva the Pinata, it would be good that so coming back, with you doing the guarding from the cell with them trying to keep the island alive, but in a candy way, and that's so you're focusing more on them stopping the villain of that cell. With you also showing him wanting to do terrible things to the pinata so you can make them into monsters so you can use them to take over the rest of the world, so it being good when they stop him and change back the other pinatas. Some of them not wanting to go to the mainland because then they would get bust open, but then they'd find out it's good because of them making kids happy at their birthdays there. And them loving filling themselves up with candy and becoming party characters with the main character. And we're not gonna conquer the Kairos to combat because of it leaving us on a cliffhanger and so it answering unanswered questions. It was the actual last show the cartoon company that did Toy Spies ever did, and it was done by the same cartoon company as Toy Spies. So if Toy Spies managed to come back, then Malachi conquered the Kairos to come back too. It's good that Night Begins the Sun would be better than the actual Teen Titans Go. It is good than doing Grim and Secret of the Mogwai because of it being a good show, for example. For the food-themed characters part of the story, you doing it similar to Willy Wonka because of it being similar to Alice in Wonderland, The Wizard of Oz, and Dr. Seuss because of how it having something to do with craziness, but it being in a whimsical way, so you're not supposed to taking it seriously, but it's still being good. And with it also being similar to a fairy tale, and with it just being good because of us liking candy. So the first part of that part of the story, you would do Wonka for how them getting there. It being a combination of the original version of the movie and the reboot version of the movie, for what happening after that and the second part, and for the actual part of it. And for there actually being a villain part of it, and for what happening after that in the third part, in the Tom and Jerry Willy Wonka movie for that part of it. So what happened after it, and so you having a villain for that part of the story. And you're also saying that they should be grateful for the candy factory because of it being a good job because of them making people happy. And it took them years to get sick and tired of this job. Imagine how bad it would be how fast you're getting sick and tired at making a job doing healthy snacks. You doing the same ending in the original movie and in the Tom and Jerry movie.
Must have left it on the truck. What are we waiting for? Let's eat. Her face! It's all blue!
I know. She's turning into a blueberry. It always happens when you reach the dessert. And so shines a good deed in a weary world. Charlie! You can move in immediately. You and your entire family. You can bring them all. Even Tom and Jerry. He lived happily ever after.
Okay, here's all the money I've got.
We'll let the seagulls at the dump figure it out.
Changed me in so many. You are a fat little boy in a chocolate factory. Never try to drink from the river. The tube. My God, every night I see the tube.
And saying these things because of these things going wrong with each other because of them already being similar to each other, and it would be good them doing these things with them and later on in spoofs as in the actual versions of them instead of them way over milking these things to death. It being the perfect time we're talking about because of it being at a time like Christmas, with it being especially important you doing the right thing at that time and making sure people know that about it. So I'm also saying these things here because of these things being similar to Christmas because of them being similar to a fairy tale. The Simpsons managed to do a great job spoofing Dr. Seuss. It was in general with the Fat in the Hat. And it was so good because it was something Dr. Seuss would have done, so you can just get at some of the people that worked on that episode how to do some of the actual Dr. Seuss stuff. So it actually feeling something like Dr. Seuss would do. Disney hating on the original movies because their modern movies suck, so they're making you think that they were never good. Then letting you do AI versions of their characters and add characters at Disney Plus. Then replacing even more of the animated characters, which is the reason that got them there in the first place. And they definitely shouldn't blame the fans because they're the ones who made them so big in the first place. It's not that we don't want original stories, we just want them to be good original stories. K-pop Demon Hunters is proof of that. And you should just do the story plain simple without being meta about it.
We were tempted to scat, and we looked and we saw him. The Fat in the Hat! Now please do not worry, because we did okay. Yes, kids will get candy, whatever you say.
Actually been advanced for the sequels and it just been a trilogy, not you over milking it to death and you only doing the stories has actually have more to tell with introducing new characters to flesh out the original characters more. And there shouldn't be a formula to these movies so you're not being formulaic with it. You should actually do them, not just acknowledge them, but doing them anyways. Like if you don't want love at first sight, you can do it, them already being best friends since childhood and then falling in love with each other over the years. And if you're going to do someone a part of the LGBT community couples, do something similar to Fear Street, where both of them are the same gender, but one is a badass while on the street, so you're getting both parts of it. And the reason why The Grinch is so great is because it doing the Dr. Seuss things, not the terrible Disney things.
And what happened then? Well, in Springfield, they say that Burns's small heart grew 3 sizes that day.
Emergency cardiac reduction. Stop!
Thank you, Smithers. Merry Christmas.
Smithers was the first.
The Grinch is a widely and kind of Christmas story people are still doing today, so it'd be good you doing a new one for them to spoof into years to come. How the Grinch Stole Christmas is his own part of Christmas. You doing him with the Cat in the Hat, for example, how is this doing the Dr. Seuss part of him. And you also shouldn't have women doing things when they're pregnant because that just shows they don't care about the kid inside them. And Disney can just do it being a fairy tale by following the style and tone of a medieval movie. Not them doing the same things. And if you do a diverse person or someone who is different to you in a way, you should do it just being a coincidence, not it being their whole personality. It is for escapism, but if you want to do serious issues, you need to do it entertaining or else we don't find out the lesson, which is why TV does better than prison. That you send your kids to even if they've been good. And you need to do a good job of tackling the serious issue. Like you treating the woman the same of how you treat a man, but you acknowledging the differences between them. And another reason of why me doing this is because of them doing the terrible Cat in the Hat movie and me just trying to say how them being able to do it good and me not wanting them to mess it up. It is bad them doing things similar to the Cat in the Hat, trying to get rid of the things that make him special, and you at least could do the dog with a hog if you're doing that. It's also bad them ruining the Cat in the Hat by doing his terrible personality and everyone hating him. It is also bad them doing him messing up. So how you can do that good is you not explaining how him being like that or where him coming from specifically. Him just being their imaginary friend to show them the balance between fun because of these kids moving out after their parents dying. With him ending up spreading the craziness of his world in their world, but it turning out it being good, everyone knowing about it now. And the things, you still doing thing 1 and thing 2 as the main ones. And with you not doing the other things similar to the Minions, with you just doing thing 3 and thing 4. And with them being different because these things will bite you because they want to have fun, say hello to thing 3 and thing 4. This way it would be good Warner Bros. Doing some other good movies and doing some things with Dr. Seuss and doing other Dr. Seuss movies. And you also being able to do the other Dr. Seuss stories. If you're not doing them as goofy or socially awkward in these movies, you doing them rhyming in a Dr. Seuss way. And it being crazy in a similar way to a fairy tale. Think of it as a Christmas gift to the fans and a way to honor Dr. Seuss. And by making sure that adaptations of Dr. Seuss is good. And for a big fat I'm sorry for trying to ruin the Grinch in the horror movie version of him.
I always wanted to be in a band. Guess I just never found the right one. In this line of work, you always... Before Miles, but they didn't really know me. And I didn't really know him. What? No. Gwen?
Don't worry.
Who's Gwen?
Everything's gonna be okay.
Except one.
You know,
Okay.
thumbs up. It won't bring him back.
Was to help. The guy who left it was a real piece of work. Stuff.
So I started my own. With a few old friends.
Actually did it.
What? Saved our hides?
No. Declared war. Where's the professor when you need him? X-Men.
No matter what, I'll always end up here. Don't you know that? Almost forgot.
Am I going to war or a circus?
What'd you expect? Black leather?
Those legends really didn't do my folks justice.
Your mother told me you had my eyes. I love you, son.
Don't start growing a conscience now, Dent. I don't care. You will testify, Dent, because you don't bend with the world when it goes bad. You push back.
Clark!
Are you all right?
I'm fine, but Clark,
I'm okay. Everything's okay.
how did you know you'd be bulletproof?
I didn't. I just knew that you weren't.
Are you?
Stay here. We'll be right back.
No way, Smoke.
Call.
And I. And now in this present, you, a stubborn, petulant child, will cause it to kill all of humanity.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Relinquish yourself to me, or what?
Morgan!
Need a hand? Thank you. Looks like I could use a sidekick after all.
Pier.
But I want that scroll!
Let's cut our losses and go home.
Her burden is heavy, but her heart is light. If not for her mother, perhaps Blue Lynx could be an ally.
Mom!
Jinchi!
My baby!
My family.
Welcome home.
My Beasticons, it's so good to be back. Thank you for not giving up on me.
Check it out! I told you! Crying Man, that's the guy! A superhero just jumped out of your comic book! Yeah, do you sense that?
Someone is sad. Very sad. They need our help.
Our help? As in you and us? Whoa, why am I involved in this all of a sudden? You good? Oh, I grabbed you.
It's okay. Your secret is safe with me.
Jeez, what did I miss?
Except one. People to help them.
You have to fulfill the prophecy. Go. He's vulnerable in his spirit form.
from here, Echo. The Tree of Freedom awaits, where we can get some answers about the Age of Wonders.
My queen, I regret to inform you that we were unable to capture the Chosen. However, she has freed the land of the curse.
And the rise of the people of the deep.